Sanders was also a huge addition from the standpoint of quite possibly the best D lineman in Texas.
Hello, friends, and welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I've been doing voices today. I don't know if you've noticed, Kate.
Lots and lots of voices today.
Hey, it's the Torniac.
Nope.
Sorry. The Tornado.
I like that one better.
How many nicknames did we come up with today?
Just 2 for me.
The Torniac, the Tornado. No, I'm not going to use that one. Kate, tell me something.
Well, I'll tell you that we had Jacob Hester on the program today. He was pretty good. We had...
Why are you saying it like you're at a funeral and you don't want to be caught talking? You're like, hey, man, did you watch the game last night? I know that Bob died, but, did you see, they came back and won. That's what you sound like.
Okay, I'll add some enthusiasm. All right, we had Olin Buchanan, the Go Hour, big stuff. John Brice, Insider, Notre Dame. We had Billy Liucci, surprise appearance in studio. And then we also had Jacob Hester. Excellent.
Okay, I like this version of you better. I like this version of you gets to stay on the show. You're supposed to respond to that.
Yeah. I'll keep it like this then. Yeah.
Tornado, what was your favorite part of the show?
I like John Brice. I thought that was super interesting. A little Notre Dame talk. Always fun to be in here when Billy's in here.
Yep. So nothing that I did today is what you're telling me.
And of course, I thought that was a given.
And David, the nicknames you gave me. Yes, it's all that and more here on the Rewind. Olin, number 12 is
DJ Hicks. Like him a lot.
Today's gonna be a lot of DJ love, by the way.
Yeah,
DJ Hicks and
more than DJ U, that's for sure. I like you a lot more than DJ U. Here's what I like about DJ Hicks. I can't remember where I put him on our list, but I think I might have even had him higher than 12, perhaps, because I always say, hey, are you gonna make your ranking based on productivity and what you saw from him, or potential? And I think in DJ's case, it's both.
It's a little both.
Yeah.
He came on later.
Well, when he got to play, of course he had some issues early. Myles Garrett, maybe when he's over with, maybe the one of, if not the greatest pass rushers in all. His first year as a freshman, he had 3 sacks in SEC play. 3. He had like 8.5, but he only had 3 in SEC play. 1 against South Carolina, Mississippi, and Mississippi State. So you have to temper what you see as a freshman. But I watched him in that bowl game, and I know we only had about a couple tackles, but it's not always about stats, especially as an interior lineman.
Just watching
Did you create havoc?
100%.
And he created havoc. And I'm thinking, man, I love this guy. He's a big guy, and I think he's added about 10 pounds, but it's the quickness that he brings to it too. So I think DJ Hicks, especially when you consider the guys around him, he's probably going to get overshadowed a little bit, but still, I think he's the Jethro Pugh to the Bob Lilly and Randy White Turner next. I know there's some hyperbole there, but I'm just saying I think he's a really good guy, a really good player that might get overshadowed just because of who he's playing next to. And back to my point, hey, you've heard of Mean Joe Green.
Of course.
Yeah, great player.
Great commercial.
Yeah, absolutely, but even greater player.
Yep.
Who was the tackle next to him in that steel curtain?
Remind me.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Ernie Holmes, but and was an outstanding player, but he got overshadowed.
Yep.
by Mean Joe Green. I think DJ Hicks is one of those guys that might get overshadowed by Shamar Turner.
Not by us. Not by this show.
Well, if I ask somebody who is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, if I ask Robert Cessna, he's going to say Ernie Holmes. Right. Boom. But, so my point is that a lot of times you have that one guy who is the defensive tackle, Vikings fans, next to Alan Page, right? So a lot of times you have one great guy, which I think is going to be Shamar Turner. I'm not saying his career is going to be equal to Alan Page, but in A&M context, you're going to have this great player. But that doesn't mean DJ Hicks, even if he's overshadowed, isn't a really good player. I think he's going to break out.
Yeah.
And I think having Shamar Turner next to him and Shamar Stewart, he's going to be sandwiched between 2 Shamars.
Where do you give Notre Dame the advantage? Where do you give A&M the advantage outside of maybe defensive line that we discussed already?
Well, I've been to College Station. I was a sideline reporter for a game there in 2016, an afternoon game between the Aggies and Tennessee, a CBS game, a tremendous game.
Overtime
it was crazy
game?
hot. And and it was crazy hot, and that was the second weekend of October. I don't think we've had a very hot summer here in South Bend. So first and foremost, I do expect the heat and the environment to be real factors for Notre Dame. Notre Dame Stadium seats around 78,000 people. There'll be 110, 11,000 people there at Kyle Field. That's a tremendous difference. And a lot of these guys just have not seen an environment remotely anything like that. A few of them played at Ohio State a couple of years ago, 102-ish thousand, but it never got that loud. It was not anything like the respect I have for Kyle Field or the crazy atmosphere that I believe Kyle Field is. So first and foremost, it's right there. I think that Texas A&M's defensive line is an edge over Notre Dame's offensive line. I think that Riley Leonard and Connor Wegman probably sort of neutralize themselves. Riley's got a little bit more experience. I think he can do just a little bit more with his legs. But I think this is an incredibly low-scoring one-possession game.
So just from afar, because I know you don't just cover Notre Dame, you cover all of college football. What kind of year do you expect from A&M?
I think I said it earlier this week on the Football Scoop podcast. I think A&M is a team that's a bit undervalued right now, and they've got a brutal schedule, and it is a rebuild. But let's also remember another point that's a subplot in this game is that last January of 23, Marcus Freeman went out and tried to hire Colin Klein as his offensive coordinator, brought him into South Bend, flew him in, really verbally offered him the job. So there's another subplot right there, is that Marcus Freeman's going against a guy he brought into South Bend and really wanted to be running the Notre Dame offense. But I think that A&M is a little undervalued. I think that, again, we've seen Mike Elko able to win more than expected with less than expected. Now he's got more talent than he's ever had as a head coach. If an A&M somehow upsets if A&M wins this first game against Notre Dame and it's a coin flip game, then I think you're talking about a team that can go win 9-10 games.
I like a guy that there he is just taking the ball away. Again, that's instinctive right there. That's like something a defensive back would do.
Right.
That's not something a D end that weighs 290 pounds. You just see him on tape like he did just there. He's regularly snapping heads back. He's very forceful at the point of attack. He's patient when he does get in that backfield. He's patient and just has a feel for the game that I haven't seen in too many D linemen. And he's just a bull. There he is, speaking of bull, there he is bull rushing. But he's just a very physical.
He looks like a college player there.
Well, yeah. I mean, build-wise, he's listed 6'4", 290. And I think he has so much to gain in a weight room. And I'm not saying he's going to weigh a whole lot more. He could, though. With his frame, he could end up being you just don't know. He could end up being a 330-pound interior guy that can just wreak absolute havoc and wreck shop, or he might tone all that up and be in that 310 range and be just 6'3" plus, almost 6'4" and 310. He's a violent at the point of attack guy, violent tackler. You can tell. Here's what I love. Okay, there are three guys that they've got right now on that D line. They just jump off on tape. As far as like you watch each one of them, including DJ, and you go, they love playing football, and all three of them just flat out get after it. Nuno. There's not an ounce of lazy, and when
three dudes right there trying to stop.
And when you can take three high school blue chip D line recruits and watch them on tape and go, man, none of these guys are lazy or take plays off. That's not common. That's not common at all. And for DJ Sanders to be, he's so much more talented than the majority of the guys, physically gifted than the majority of the guys he's going against. It would be real easy to understand that you don't necessarily have to have that kind of motor at all. But look at him. And I know this is a highlight tape, but that's how he plays. You don't rack up those kind of numbers without it. And I guess we've got him listed at 300. He probably is. When you see what his frame really looks like, he probably is. What they're doing on the D-line, that's a massive get for Sean Spencer, Tony Giardetti, Jay Bateman, and Elko.
Hey, it's going to be a little different this year, A&M and LSU playing in October. Just your thoughts on that shakeup, not being the end of the season, where those two programs seem to be headed. Just give me some thoughts way deeper into the season.
Yeah, so that was a game that, as we've talked about before, right? It was when A&M came into the league, they put it on LSU's schedule, and it felt a little forced at the time. Even though they had a history together, I mean, they certainly played before A&M joined the league, but it was one of those games where it's like, okay, is this going to work? Is this going to become a thing? And then all of a sudden, I mean, A&M hires Jimbo. You have the 7 overtime game. You have some really good games after that. It wholeheartedly became a thing. I mean, it was something that I think both fan bases kind of look forward to at the end of the year. But look, it makes sense for A&M to match back up with Texas. I'm actually excited about Oklahoma and LSU maybe creating their own new little rivalry situation. The last 2 times those teams have played, it's been one for a national championship, the other in a college football playoff semifinal. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm still excited about A&M and LSU. I think it makes all the sense in the world for them to play every single year, even if it's not the very end of the season. And look, for LSU, it's a place they have not had a lot of success. They haven't won in College Station since 2016. And so I think LSU fans, I know here locally, me and T-Bob talk about it, that's a game that they've kind of got circled. I know a lot of people on the outside want to talk about Ole Miss and they want to talk about Alabama and Oklahoma. Those games are all inside Death Valley. This game's going to be in a place, again, they haven't been really successful. And T-Bob and I are both high on Texas A&M. I think that game 1 matchup against Notre Dame is so fascinating because of what it can do for the Aggies if they win that one. As we all know, you create that momentum early in the season. You're already in the top 20. You can be in the top 10 in the blink of an eye. And so it's a game that we're all looking forward to. I can't wait to see how Mike Elko's, identity, because we kind of know who he wants to be. He's been there before. He was successful as a defensive coordinator there, but now that he's the head coach, I think Texas A&M is going to really have a new identity. We know Tommy Moffitt. Tommy Moffitt's the reason that I was able to be the player that I was. He was your strength coach my entire time at LSU. I know he's going to be mean, nasty, tough. That's just who he is. And I think the entire team, because of Tommy Moffitt, because of Mike Elko being the head coach, is really going to take that on.
Caitlin, please tell the people what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of our social media, and tell your friends about it.
And I want somebody to comment. This will be the official nickname poll for Caitlin Torn. Do you want the Tornado or the Torniac? Or if you have another name, comment below. I'm sorry, probably shouldn't do that. Sorry, Torniac. What?
Don't vote Torniac.
Yeah, Torniac. See you next time.